Buddha. Greetings. I am Sunu Satna Asra. Welcome to our early morning ancient Egyptian devotional dedicated to Goddess Net and all her mystic forms, gods and goddesses who are derived from her transcendental essence. The liturgy, which you will be able to see on screen, is recited in the ancient Egyptian language, the Medu Neter. English and Brazilian Portuguese translations is provided for you. You can see these translations on screen directly below the hieroglyphic text transliteration. You are welcome to participate by chanting along in your worship space, home, or wherever you may happen to be. During the service, you are also welcome to listen quietly in a contemplative mood. Following the devotional, known as Uwashu in the Kemetic language, the recitation of the liturgy and meditation, known as Uwa in the Kemetic language practice. We will have a brief wisdom known as Rek in the Kemetic language, teaching by Sehu Khepera Ank, leader and priest of the Shetout Neter Temple of Net. Before we begin, please remember to mute all devices. We will now begin. Presented on the screen at the moment is a stone-carved depiction of the facing pylons of the Temple of Net from the statue of Penat. On the left and right sides are the pylons in which one of the symbols of Goddess Net sits atop of a papyrus standard. Her emblem is her two arrows crossed and tied to her shield. This symbolizes the protection and resurrection of the soul within this place, the temple. Behind the emblems of Net on both sides are the flags, which mean Neter, divinity. In the center of the pylons at the bottom is the opening to the temple, and above that is a pyramidal structure, which symbolizes the four equilateral planes of the universe and the mystic number 4. Above that, at the very top, is the cow hieroglyph, which means rising. It symbolizes the sun rising between the mountains, the Aket symbol, and for the initiates, the emergence of spirit consciousness. Dek nesumer puneter amine. Jenef nesu atapti net perkeru. Benket mert emhet sedneb enkai. Gary had heard of SSN and had there, and I read F Jetta. Net the super puneter edine. Jenef the super tapti that perkeru. Benket Bert Ebheb Sedbed Edkael Yeri Hepertep SSN Ebhed and I Red F Jetta Net Nesuva Pudater Vide Jedef Nesuva Tapti Net Perkeru Benket Wert Ebheb Sedek Edkaer Gary Hepertep SSN Ebhed and I Red F Jetta that the super predator evide Jet F that super tapti that perkeru Banket Bert and Hepset and Kyle Gary Heppertep SSN and Hepnet and I Red F Jetta. Juamu Kerefu Benefen Herua Kuti Anate Chekera Nefer Nebuben Juamu Kerefu Benefen Herua Kuti Anate Chekera Nefer Nebuben Duamu Kerefu Benefen Herua Kuti Anate Chekera Nefer Nebuben Juamu Kerefu Benefen Herua Kuti Anate Chekera Nefer Nebuben Ari Zensiger Aset Uru Kef Uru Blessed Hatep Neferkeru Didi Eskalu Ababunet Nefer Shepsi Etne Ote Blessed Hatep Neferkeru Didi Eskalu Ababunet Nefer Shepsi Etne Ote Nesuti Hatep Neferkeru Didi Eskalu Ababunet Nefer Shepsi Etne Ote Nesuti hatepnet perkeru. Dili eska uamamunet nefershepsi. Etne hote. Tua emshamsu. In Nevager. Sehu Khepera. Dua asar nebrestal. Paut netelu aat ami netekert. Anetet hier kekenti amentet. Undefer ab abtu. Metentu ai. Ku anek arati. Estal. Seteka sekert. Aku sani nahas. Ubet center. Set mk. Def seat neter. Uni entet. Hena yash neter. Asar. Erdit emnek. En ari heru. Hena herme endes. Ari heru. Aus ruatepi. Ari sech. Am. Ua neter. Abu penha asar. Abu pen asar. Spur en heru. Arit pert. Nehas sa. Uajit pa neter. Asa ari peru. Hept em. Aset. Abuyen tuche. Medut ian. Aset sam ujat. Setep saher emseti. Enti amsa asar. Sa emseti. Asar emseti. Medut nebethet. Hapsheta. Ari besa. Her happy enti. Sa asar. Sa happy. Asar pu happy. Medut ian. Net sedua ra. Semesha hu. Neb her. Ari maket en. Duamutef. Enti amsa asar. Sa duamutef. Asar pu duamutef. Medut ian. Cirket. Nkake sekedet. Sa ru. Ne. Ari maket en quepsunef. Entet. Amsa asar sa quepsunef. Asar pu quepsunef. Iana terda. Emnuen duacheta. Iana terda. Emnuen duacheta. Nebetre medut. Anatet hirke asar. Putra. Makti Sake Setu Sakake Bebeje Medut Anatet Hirke Asar Putra Bhakti Sake Setu Sakake Bebeje Medut Anatet Hirke Asar Putra Bhakti Sake Setu Sakake Bebeje Medut Anatet Hirke Asar Putra Bhakti Sake Setu Sakate Adi Jen Sicker Adi Duaka Ekau Uashu Net Net Duanet Sefekera Senue Net Net Duanet Sefekera Senue Net net duanet sefekera sehues. Net net duanet sefekera sehues. Amu o ansu. Amu mu kansu. Amu mu ansu. Amu ansu. Amu ata. Om Amurapata. Om Amurapata. Om Amurapata. Om Masara Se. Om Masara Se. Om Masara Se. Om Masara Se. Peru. Peru ma Peru. Peru Peru, Eruma, Peru, Eruma, Peru, Ase, 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 Amahaera, Nepe, Akuja Sere, Arineteru, 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 Juara, Nuke, Atien Keperu, Nuke, Atien Keperu, Nuke, Atien Keperu, Nuke, Atien Keperu, Eheru, 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 Heru. Dua to 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 Heru. Nuk Nebager. Nuk Nebager. Nuk Nebager. Nuk Nebager. Nefer Ramantra in Aton. Nefer Ramantra in Aton. Nefer Ramantra in Aton. Nefer Ramantra in Aton. Makeru Mba Nebager. Makeru Mba Nebager. Makeru Mba Nebager. Makeru Mba Nebager. Nuk Ua Kua. Nuk Ua Kua. Nuk Ua Kua. Nuk Ua Kua. Nugmat, 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 Newt, 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 Newt. Asa, 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 sa, 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 Keteau Ank jet. Uas hena nefu. Kepitu. Bahat. Dejasu. Sunu and Hotet. Aset. Ua suja heru. Suja benut. Nebu sen set. Sen asar. Aset. Atepi. Suja auitu yasor. Nesheshu. Nebu. Emhu shemu. Metmetu. Tau. Sep nebu. Neshteta. Ua menti. Peru kut. Teken and at tesu. Kem hena. Sefa. Ra. Jijit kat. Hena. Asar peta. Keperu. Medut ra. Kat. Nefi asar keperu. Uahai. Uaker. Nuk aset. Perke nayet. Ret enau setter. Sa medu en Jehuty. Tep maat. Pet. Ta atert. Aset netter. Nefer. Ger. Pu ankseski. Sd a ament. Sa enken. Pu enen. Au ready Nebkep. It etep. Her. Ft ent nf tawi. Uai. Uaker. Keruma, keru. Keruma, keru. Keruma, keru. Keruma, keru. Verai mesua. Verai mesua. Verai mesua. Nukepra emduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ami mesel. Nukepra emduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ami mesel. Nukepra emduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ami mesel. Uahai. Uaker. Death. Netter. Netter. Mu. Never. Jesseri. Jesseri. Netter. 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 Jesseri. Jesseri. Netter. 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 Jesseri. Jesseri. Netter. eternal, moving, no path, just setting, ready. Washedi, Watesha. Emete, um, um, te, um, Bate, Peace, 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 peace. Attempt. Dua. Attempt.
Uja, greetings. Uja, everyone. So, here we are at line 12. So we have arrived. So this will be the final dissemination on the upper portion of the panel before we move to the few lines, the 5 lines on the bottom. So today we'll be doing line 12. And for anybody that has missed any of the lectures, can go back on YouTube and go through the series there. So this is the final line. Au neter herper en Kemetic. This dual divinity has stretched out the sacred cloth for you, so that you may know the dimensions of the universe and the mystery of expansion of consciousness, in which the Supreme Divine is ascertained and realized. This dual divinity has stretched out the sacred cloth for you, so that you may know the dimensions of the universe and the mystery of expansion of consciousness, in which the Supreme Divine is ascertained and realized. It means the divinity in time and space has unfolded the sacred cosmic fabric, so you can perceive the structure of the universe and understand how consciousness expands toward realization of the Supreme Divine. The sacred cloth symbolizes the measurable order of creation. By stretching it out, the dual divinity reveals both the cosmic dimensions and the inner mystical process through which awareness grows until the supreme transcendent divine is directly realized. And here the repeating of the text is a specific ancient Egyptian convention. It's called Shepsen, where you say the same thing twice. The important term here is au. So here is the A, which is the like your upper arm and your forearm and your hand. And then the U sound is made by the chick. So au. And behind the chick is the symbol for divinity, which is the divine being sitting crouched. So au. And au relates to something that is dual. So if the determinative was, let's say, a flower, it would mean two flowers. Let's say it was a, uh, a pot, it would mean two pots. So in this context, with the determinative of the seated divine, it means dual divinity. Recall earlier that it is spoken that there is a supreme divinity, and that the lesser divinities emerge from that supreme divine. The text actually says that. We went through it. So here it is making it clear that what is causing the metaphysical process of stretching out is a dual divinity that is causing it. And that's an important distinction, because the supreme divine is completely transcendental, so it has no motion, it has no action, it is supreme stillness. And this supreme stillness is what you can, through spiritual practice, spiritual discipline, discover within yourself. It's your true abiding nature. And to get there, you need silence, you need gur, so you need to calm down the heatedness and efface the ego. And if you do that to a very refined degree, you may discover the supreme spirit stillness. And you can refer to it as netter, panetter, nebiger. So it is making it clear that a dual divinity is performing this action of stretching out and measuring the dimensions of the universe. And that dual divinity is referring to is Jehuty. Jehuty is seen in the iconography as the divinity that is performing the act of stretching out the sacred cloth. So at once, this is a cosmic principle of the physiology of the universe in its expansive nature, its continual expansion. So it at once is serving as a cosmic principle and a mystical insight through a process of metaphysics that is practiced by the spiritualist, the spiritual practitioner, through meditative practices. And this relates to expansion in consciousness. As it is now, if in a normal state, where people who are not spiritual practitioners, etc., their minds are contracted. The mind is contracted. In that condition, all that is perceived is phenomenality, meaning time and space existence. There's perception in dream, but it is clouded by delusion. There's perception in time and space, but it's clouded again by delusion. So in that condition, the personality is having a faulty perception of temporal reality. It is not a true perception. If a human being were to calm the mind, that is to say, firstly, refute the common nature of the mind, that produces thought upon thought upon thought upon thought, and counter the manifestation of thought by calmness of mind, what you'll discover is that there is mind without thought. The mind can exist without thinking. So your thoughts are manifestations of mind, and therefore they're illusions. It's like the mind is doing a magic trick, or the mind is doing a facsimile or a photocopy of something. If your mind were to become very calm, there's only one thing that it would do after that. It would expand. In other words, you would cause yourself to explore the vastness of the mind. So, and this is called expansion. So you'll go through a metaphysical expansion. And if that expansion continues in a very pristine manner, unobstructed by ego permutations and egoism, you would eventually expand into the discovery of your transcendental supreme divine nature, the Nebuchadnezzar. And why that occurs is because the obscurations and the blockages that are preventing the expansion would be removed. And the first step towards this mystic expansion is calming the mind. Thus, the mystery of expansion of consciousness would be, you would be enacting that mystery through the mystical process that is occurring within you. The mystery is not something that is separate from yourself. You are essentially that mystery, that supreme divine. At first, you have to ascertain it, and that means to recognize the reality of a state of being that is transcendental and unchangeable. And what I mean by that is that if you are in a meditative state and you're meditating and things are happening in your meditation, or you're feeling relaxed but you're coming out of your meditation, etc., you're still in the realm of changeability. So it has to be ascertained within you that there is a reality that is unchangeable. And when it is realized, it means that you have actually experienced that unchangeable mystic reality, which is the basis, which is the true nature of yourself. That puts into perspective your personality, your mind, your senses, your ideas, your concepts, your wants, your needs, your likes and dislikes. What it does is that it refutes those ideas and concepts, likes and dislikes, as abiding realities, because they are changeable, and they are from the perspective of higher consciousness, they are inconsequential. So therefore they are illusory. Thus, the true reality is your mystic divine self. The big point that is being made here is you have to go through the owl, the dual divinity. So you have to inculcate the grace, the blessings, the boons from the dual divinity. In other words, it is a metaphysical mistake to try to achieve higher consciousness by going directly to higher consciousness. Firstly, the mind, the normal mind, is too weak for that. It will not be able to make the leap from conscious perception in a mode of delusion to universal consciousness. That is too vast of a reach. It is not possible. However, this is what people try to do all the time. Remember what we discussed the last time. So it is not possible to do that. But people try. And then what you're left with, since it is not possible to make that leap, what you're left with is faith. And we can go on and on with the difficulty in that, or the error. You need an intermediary. You need a metaphysical basis upon which to cause this mystic realization to occur through gradual expansion in consciousness. So the larger issue here is that you are not doing it. In a sense you are, but in a greater sense you are not. Is that you are removing the impediments that will allow for the realization to occur. And to remove those impediments, you approach the dual divinity. So in other words, Jehuty is doing it, not your ego. In spiritual evolutionary process, you have to get your ego out of the way and thinking, I am doing it. I am going through this mystical process. I am this mystic. It is your Jehuty nature, your cosmic mind nature, that is facilitating and presiding over this metaphysical process that is occurring, that will allow for you to discover the mystic realization of supreme being, supreme divine. So you need a divinity in time and space to transcend time and space. In other words, to overcome the energies of time and space. Their energies and the cosmic forces that are binding you to time and space. You need a time and space divinity that has the metaphysical power to produce the effect of overcoming the preventative energies by removal of the delusions that will cause those illusory forces to bind you to perception of time. And perceiving the structure of the universe is only one step in a process of mystic integration. What you're really trying to do is you're trying to realize the supreme divine, which is one's own true nature. Understanding the universe alone is not enough. And that's how relating it to the current context of humanity. That's how people who are very scientifically adept get caught. Is they think the knowledge of the science is the arrival of the truth. And the knowledge of the science is a representation of a phenomenal reality. But the abiding truth is beyond science, beyond concepts, beyond philosophy. It is the mystic reality of being that is non-conceptualized in any way. So understanding the structure of the universe is a means for a personality to understand that the universe is made up of many parts and it has an operational mode to it. But that is only to help you to understand that the universe is made up of parts, and these parts are operational. And since the universe is made up of parts and is operational, it means that it's non-abiding. So there's something other than the universe that is to be known and understood. And that would be the realization of enlightenment. So learning about the universe for the sake of the universe, for the sake of knowing about the universe itself, is a failure. What needs to occur is going beyond that failure to discover the mystic truth behind it. And that's what Jehuty is pointing towards. That's why he's stretching the cloth. Stretching the cloth to help us to understand that there's something about the universe that we should be knowing about ourselves, namely expansion. And thus we can expand beyond time and space to the discovery of the mystic reality that is beyond time and space. Our error is becoming mesmerized by time and space. And that mesmerization ties you, binds you to phenomenal reality, to sense perception, to likes and dislikes. In other words, it binds you to duality. So if you're bound to duality, you need a dual divinity to help you to overcome being bounded in duality. The Supreme Spirit is not going to come down and do that for you, except in its manifestation as a dual divinity. Namely here, Jehuty. So you need psychic powers, you need cosmic forces, you need power manifest. Power manifests are the gods and goddesses. Our spiritual text calls them neteru, meaning gods and goddesses, cosmic forces. Your mind is too limited to go directly to the divine. And if you're trying to do that, you'll be held in sort of an ambience, a sort of a kind of a way station, a kind of a you'll be floating without a seatedness, without a grounding. You'll be in a kind of loose mental state. And that's where you get all the exuberance and the shouting and the gyrating and hoping someone touch you on your head, and because you're trying to take your limited mind to realize an unlimited reality, an unbounded reality, referred to as Nebuchadnezzar, and that is not possible. So you need the owl, you need the dual divinity to come in, who has more power than you in your current state, to assist you in gaining that power so that you can overcome the mesmerization that you have caused yourself to fall into because of likes and dislikes and sense perception. So if you are expanding, it means you're releasing yourself from sense perception. And if a personality doesn't want to let go of sense perception, spiritual expansion will not be possible. That's the other issue that has confronted humanity, human beings. And that's why there are certain practices of pulling back the senses, blunting the senses, pulling the senses into the mind and the mind into the spirit. Because the issue is your entanglement with sense perception. You're probing tactile senses, visual senses, probing. And that is causing you to become enmeshed in time and space conditions. Now, what were to happen if you were to reduce the mesmerizing effect of sense perception while maintaining sense perception? That's the life of sages. They have sense perception. They can see, they can touch, they can taste, smell, etc. But they're not mesmerized by it. They're not going to go to a sunrise and laud over it over and over. They recognize the beauty of it, like you can recognize the beauty of a flower or the nice taste of a piece of food. But you're not tied, you're not mesmerized, there's not longing. You're not bound by the senses, by sense perception. So you can recognize without being mesmerized. And when you reduce the mesmerization effect, what occurs is you start to release yourself from being tied, cobbled, into time and space, temporal experience. You start to experience higher states, higher consciousness. So you have to go within the inner mystical process in which your awareness gradually deepens until your awareness is perennial. So you may have glimpses of awareness and then it grows to more depth, long-lasting glimpses until it becomes perennial. When it becomes perennial, then you're a liberated sage, you're enlightened, where all you aware of is the divine. And so this mystic process that Jehuty has taken us on, culminates in line 12 with a cautionary tale. The cautionary tale is you need your dual divinity to stretch you out, to expand you, to cause you to go through the mystic process. You have to rely on your gods and goddesses, rely on your dual divinities, and let go of your ego, that somehow you are the one, your ego is the one. That idea that you are the one doing it, that is set actually holding you back. And that is set trying to usurp the throne of your higher spirit nature that is manifesting through the dual divinity. In other words, you have to let go and let God. Let the divine work by letting go. So if we were to heed this cautionary tale, the result will be our own mystic expansion to our own self-discovery of our own true divine nature. And with that, that ends the upper portion of the panel that we're currently discussing. And we'll be back next week and start the lower portion. We will be discussing the goddess. And she has some poignant, profound teachings for us that we should reflect upon. That will begin next week. Okay, dua everyone. I hope these 12 lessons were beneficial in some way. And again, they're on YouTube, so you can go back and watch them over for free and continue the reflection into the great mystery of our Lord Jehuty. Jehuty, 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 Dua Jehuty. Hit tap. Dua everyone. Until we meet again. Hit tap.